I like jumping spiders, and I caught this really beautiful white jumping spider in my yard and decided I was going to keep it as a pet. So I've learned a lot. I think the spider has passed on, but I'm going to go ahead and make like a brief little educational blurb, for anybody who's like interested in being like a first-time pet keeper with these spiders. This is Skeletor, and she's in the death curl. There is a very small chance, an incredibly small chance, a tiny, minuscule chance that she could still be alive, but I doubt it. She is in what is known as the death curl. So you see how her legs are all curled up and like curled under her? The hydraulics on the spider's legs gave out. And this can happen when they're molting. She may be molting. But it's been a week now, so I have removed her from her terrarium. She is a regal jumping spider. Really quite beautiful and very sad about the state that she's in and that she didn't make it. She's a juvenile. If you catch these animals in the wild, they can lay like hundreds of eggs, man. So they could be pregnant. Me personally, I would much rather catch a younger spider. If I'm going to catch one in the wild, you can buy them online and have them sent to your house. They only live 1 to 2 years. So it's not going to live long. And, you know, if somebody's charging like $50 for a fucking spider, though the spiders that people are selling are typically already mature. So for me, like, I would rather catch them at the house. I don't know what happened. So they're going to molt several times in their life, and the frequency, I think, depends on the species. These guys get to be about the size of the end of my thumb, or like the size of a dime or whatever. They get fairly large, or like a quarter. I mean, I would really hope that she will wake up, but I don't think she's going to. I have a little bug carrier thing that I'm going to put her in. I already went ahead today because it's been a full week of her being like this. Put another spider in there. So she had, it's called dyskinetic syndrome, DKS, which is a disorder in jumping spiders that can cause jerky motions, poor coordination, and loss of appetite. After molting, jumping spiders may also need a few days or over a week to harden up. During this time, disturbing them can cause them to freeze or move in a way that makes them fall. Dyskinetic syndrome is also in tarantulas. It is jerky motions, poor coordination, and loss of appetite. There is no known cause or treatment, so I can't find any information about this. I think that the jumping spider hobby is something that's slowly starting to become a thing. So I feel like a need to kind of speak up on some of the matters going on. This species is from the southern half of the United States, and they prefer warmer temperatures. People like to handle their jumping spiders, and they can become exposed to chemicals which can kill them, like in like hand lotion and stuff. This is my terrarium. I got this little bug light, or this little light. Let's see if it says what the manufacturer is on here. Zoomed Laboratories. This was at the regular pet store. Petco or PetSmart, I think. And it's got an LED lamp in there. Now this plant is a house plant, and it's growing just fine in there. I have to water it weekly. It's growing a flower. The first setup, I bought plants and they turned out to be poisonous, so I brought them back to the store. So you'll want to I noticed they're not putting on the labels whether or not the plants are pet safe. This is an indoor house plant. But I mean, it's growing just fine. It's got all kinds of new growth on it and stuff. I found these little bone thingies. They're not beads. That was at the craft store. And I put these little skeleton beads in here. These are growing just fine. These are succulents, I think is what they're called. And there's one a little cactus plant, a succulent in the back there. Those don't need watered very frequently, but it is growing just fine under that light as well. I went and caught another spider. And she's the main reason why I'm making this video right now. She is not native to this area. Well, I found her outside. And she looks like a wolf spider, but she's a jumping spider. Most of the jumping spiders people have been keeping are regal jumping spiders. And this one in here is a Californicus something. Hold up. It's a California jumping spider. She's hiding right now. She just scurried to a corner. Probably not the best time for me to decide to start filming. It is this jumping spider that I have in there right now that I caught today is a Platycryptus Californicus, also known as the California flattened jumping spider. I'm just gonna look some images up on Google so we can get an idea of what this spider looks like, because it don't look like a normal jumping spider. The abdomen, this is from, we'll pull up the website in a moment. The abdomen, though, you can see is shaped more like that of a wolf spider. But this is a jumping spider, and I didn't know what it was, but I seen it jump, so I captured it. The website that this comes from is pictureinsect.com/wiki/Platycryptus_Californicus. The photo is by Donald Hobem. And what I'm finding about these spiders is that they are not the same as other jumping spiders in their temperament. It says that they're skittish and they also move very quickly. So I don't know whether or not keeping this as a pet is going to be successful. This spider is hiding right now, and people said they like to run and they like to hide. So a little bit different than what you would normally see with a jumping spider, which, you know, jumping spiders are normally very friendly. There she is. Oh, she's so tiny. She's a juvenile. She or he, I don't know. Right up there. It ate. When I went to catch it, it tried to jump and dropped web and landed in this planter, and immediately, like, this other bug was like, what was that? And it seen it, and she snatched it up and ate it. So luckily she's already eaten. I don't like it that they want to hide by the door, yo. Look at this. Why you hiding? Oh, you're so cute. Why you hiding by the door, eh? So I did read that these guys will move their little whatever that's called in front of their mouth pretty frequently. So that's normal for this species to be doing that. What she's doing with her mouth right there. She needs to get comfortable. I don't know if I'm gonna keep her long term or not. She's gonna need to calm down and get okay with me to some level. Oh, I really don't like that you're deciding this is your hiding spot. So, Skeletor, which she's just a little baby. I had to put these in the corners of my door because there's like a wider gap right there and she could escape. I had a hold of a regal earlier. I brought 2 spiders in the house and that regal was too small and it escaped. So I caught it when it was escaping, like it was dangling off a web, and I brought it outside. You will need to mist your terrarium every like day or every like 2 days or 3 days. But you want to make sure that you don't spray your spider because they will suffocate. Their lungs are on the bottom of their body, but they will need access to water. So like, you know, if I get droplets on the glass and stuff, like I saw a Skeletor would go up to the glass. They are intelligent. They will learn to recognize you. But I'm not seeing anybody keeping these guys as pets. I've seen a few people that have tried to like find advice on them. Where'd she go? And haven't been able to. So this is my terrarium. It's not that big. I prefer this. If you get a jumping spider, you need a terrarium that's going to open from the front because they like to nest up high. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that people need to know. I don't know what happened to my spider. Mites is another thing that I'm seeing as a problem in the hobby. And it typically comes from food like crickets and stuff. You don't want to feed your spider anything that's really bigger than it. I mean, sometimes they can take down larger prey, but like this one's a little baby. So, you know, I gotta be careful what I feed her. I had a sack of baby, we call it praying mantises. And so I started looking into like how you feed baby insects. This right here is a cultivar, like a cultivation of flightless fruit flies. And they are breeding in here. And that's why I'm going to go ahead and try to take care of this spider and see, you know, what happens with it in captivity. If it's not accepting food and not drinking and stuff, I may just, what is that? Is that another fucking, that better not be, I'm assuming that was one of the flies. But they're breeding in here. There's videos on YouTube about how to do a fruit fly cultivar. So a regal jumping spider is gonna get to be about the size of the end of my thumb. But the Californicus is going to be about the size of the end of my pinky. Like I looked at what their size of maturity is. And that's the difference in size. I got my measuring tape out. So she's not going to get too awful big. And it says that smaller prey is better for these guys. Some of the stuff that I'm seeing for like habitats for jumping spiders and stuff looks pretty small. This habitat is like a foot tall. Maybe, I don't know, it could be taller. Let me get my measuring tape. This habitat is over 1 foot in height. It's like 1 inch over a foot. And it's 8 inches wide. It's made by these guys. Exoterra. So the lamp that I have is a Zoomid Creatures Dome lamp. This is it right here. Now these kind of lights are pretty common. The way that's sitting on top of my terrarium, that's pretty common for terrariums. I do think that the terrarium that I have is too small for a tarantula. I personally don't believe that any animal should be kept in an environment that it is not able to move around in. If I wanted to change the use of this, terrarium, I could put like poison dart frogs or something. They're about the size of the end of my thumb as well. There's a few small creatures I could keep in there. But they manufactured, Exoterra manufactured this specific terrarium for people who are keeping micro pets. So it's not a good environment to be shoving anything big in there. I did find that they have fruit flies available, flightless fruit flies available at Petco. But from what I'm seeing with mites, something happened and the mites like killed this dude's tarantula. So mites, when you get into keeping terrariums, becomes a problem, and they can come in on the insects that you purchase to feed your pet, be it a lizard, a spider, a frog, whatever it is. And they can become dangerous and they can infect your house. So it's something you want to be careful of, and it's a good reason to cultivate your own food. They can eat crickets, but like I said, it needs to be something small if they're small. And crickets and mealworms can both harm your spider. They do have the ability to bite. When my praying mantis died, they devoured her carcass. The mealworms, I was putting them in here and they burrowed under. I had to pick them out of the dirt. It looked to me like Skeletor might be getting ready to molt or something. I don't know. She wasn't going to the top anymore, and she just kept hanging out down here at the bottom of the door. And then I realized that she was looking at the mealworms, and I figured maybe she was afraid of them, and she's probably fixing to molt. I don't know why she didn't build a nest. They're supposed to build a webbing nest before they molt. And she didn't do that, but she was familiar with me, and she had been eating, and she had been drinking water. She was here for 3 weeks, and then she passed away. And she had that dyskinetic syndrome. So she wasn't going up high anymore, and she didn't seem to be moving right. And then the night that she passed away, I was trying to get those mealworms out of her terrarium so she could molt. And she waved her arms at me, but she let me do what I was doing. Like, she didn't seem like mad, like I was away from her. Maybe she wanted to eat one, but she's fed. So if you look at her body, she's a well-fed spider. So her abdomen, that's how you're gonna tell if your spider needs fed or not. Or it could also be an indicator to help you figure out if they need water. But her abdomen is engorged. Like, she had plenty of food. She's not all shriveled up. So I don't know. I don't think she's molting. I think she's passed on. It's been a week. I'm gonna do a total of 3 weeks waiting time. I'm gonna put her in this other bug carrier that I got, and if she don't wake up, then we say goodbye in another 2 weeks. We're gonna see what happens with this California jumping spider that just ran and hid because I was filming it. There she is. She came back out. Let's see if we can get a good angle on her. Look at how pretty that spider is, yo. That is a jumping spider, dog. So, I don't know. Nobody's been keeping them as pets. And there is a lack of data on the needs of these spiders. I found a distribution map. And it looks like the majority of their population, like they're doing the best around Washington State. They have a very dense population up there. This is a jumping spider, dog. It's actually got some really pretty markings on it. But it's very similar to the appearance of a wolf spider. Jumping spiders are one of the most... They make up like 16% approximately of the spider population. If your spider is gonna have babies, you won't put like pantyhose over the breathing area. Like you see my mesh right there? She's barely big enough to not be squeezing out of this terrarium, and even then I had to patch some holes. She's gonna have to get bigger. They molt periodically, and that can be quite scary, and they can die when they're trying to molt. So that's something to know about. But when they molt, they're gonna leave behind this like carapace or whatever the hell. There's a name for it. That's like their outer shell. And that is typically somewhat translucent. So if you want to know if your spider has died or not, you know, there's that. They will go into the death curl. So that position that my spider's, that Skeletor is in, is called the death curl. So that behavior right there is unique to the Californicus, whatever the hell I have, this California flattened jumping spider. But we need to learn more about these spiders. People are talking about them, but there's not enough answers. My arm's getting tired trying to hold the phone. Like, I don't got the best angle trying to shoot up at that little thing. She's freaking tiny though, dude. Like, tiny. Itty bitty. Itty bitty little spooder. The jerky movement is also unique to this particular species. And they're also known to be skittish and run very fast. So they will bolt, and what I'm seeing is that they're not friendly, but I don't think we really know the answer to that because I'm not seeing people try to keep them as pets. They're not indigenous to my area, technically speaking. They're commonly known as like the grape spider or something. So they may have wound up here based off of like some food being transported or something. So I don't mind giving her a home. She's pretty. But the lack of data on these guys kind of sucks. So we're going to get to know the California jumping spider as long as she doesn't starve herself or freak out too much. But she needs to calm down and make herself at home. She just got put in there. This is a juvenile. I have no idea how I'm going to feed her. Like, I have the fruit flies, but I have to get them to her. Yeah, I think she's realizing that she's captive. Right now, she's only been in here like 2 hours. She don't have a name. I don't know if it's a she or a he. I don't know how to sex them. I don't know how to tell. I'm just calling it a she. Name it Twitchy. Or oh no, I need a cute name for it. You're gonna want to make sure that your water bottle like sprays like a mist. I don't want to spray directly on my plant, so I've been spraying all the glass. There's no good way to really clean that glass other than with the dry cloth. You don't want to be using chemicals. I have no idea what happened to Skeletor, why she died. They can get stuck in their molt. You do not want to disturb them when they are molting. Normally they will build a hammock and be in there, but you can cause them to get stuck in their outer shell when they're trying to break out of it, and it's going to happen several times, and you're going to be wondering if your spider's dead or not. You want to remove any food so that you don't have a spider that's all scared of, you know, because like mealworms and crickets and stuff, they can bite and they will devour the spider while it's incapacitated trying to molt. But it happens about monthly that they molt. I hope Skeletor wakes up. If Skeletor wakes up, I might kick this spider out of my house. Check out my fish. Those are my pygmy corridors. We're doing a water change in the tank right now. They're so cute. So spiders need food and water. I see a lot of people handling their jumping spiders. Some people are doing it to familiarize the spider. They do remember faces. They are more intelligent and they have some of the best eyesight of all the spiders. I'm gonna see, there's a diagram that shows what spiders look like when they're starving. One in particular. Found this jumping spider feeding guide. So that's starving, hungry, fed. See, I saw big butt, overfed, fat ass. And this has details. Now they will get fluids from their meal. Some people have been using honey water for emaciated spiders. I tried giving a Q-tip to Skeletor, but I think Skeletor's dead. She's in the death curl and she's not coming out of it, and it's been a week. So I'm gonna lower this container. I'm not gonna disturb her. I'm gonna lower this container into my bug keeper that I got for bugs. There's a few things that could kill them. Parasites being one. I don't know what happened, because there wasn't no poison or nothing getting to her. Like, I don't handle my spiders, so I really don't know. They live 1 to 2 years. I think that's all the information that you ought to need. You can feed them mealworms and crickets and stuff. Mites can be an issue that comes in off of those bugs though. You don't want mites. Also, my personal opinion, while I do feel that the Glowfish enterprise is inhumane in how they've been treating animals, my substrate is Glowfish, and I actually think it's kind of cool. I was looking for black sand, but that is a Glowfish substrate. Is sand that I got from, I think, like PetSmart, and I actually think it's pretty freaking cool in the spider terrarium. I did also see, when it comes to mites, people recommending that you boil it, clean it, so that there's no mites. And you're also going to need to remove bug carcasses out of your terrarium and keep it clean, you know, get rid of old webs and stuff. So that's gonna be the end of this video. I hope it's useful. We'll see what happens with the Californicus philippus or whatever this spider is that I don't know where it went, and it's very small, but I should probably quit bugging it. I don't know what kind of plant that is. I needed to like take a screenshot of its leaves or something. Like I did know, but I don't know anymore. You can use Google Lens to identify plants. And these are sitting next to the terrarium and they're growing just fine. So that zoom ed light is some beastly shit right there. That is a good light. One last thing. Plants. So this needs to be watered weekly. And I got this planter at Spencer's. It does not have holes in the bottom. I don't need water pooling up in there. You know, you need to know how much water your plant's gonna need, and that's been kind of hard for me. I've actually been, when I overwater, what I've been doing is I have these little, this thing's kind of dirty, but I have some of these, and I use them to divide the food between my two fish tanks, because I'll do frozen food, but I'll actually take any excess water out with that. But you do not want pools of water in your jumping spider terrarium because your spider can drown. So that's why we do misting with the squirt bottle. That thing has to be watered. And that is a small house plant. The succulents, they need ground level watering, and it is very infrequently because they're desert plants. So you gotta put the water at the bottom. So I'll put that spray thingy where it's shooting a jet to water that thing. The best, if you want a plant that's gonna do well with misting, because I have to also worry about my plant that's in here getting we caught powdery mildew from the water getting on the leaves too much. If you want a plant that's going to tolerate misting, there is a plant that actually likes misting, and that's going to be your air plants. So you can like go on Google and look for different species of air plants, AIR, air plants, and see what you like. Find one and use those. That's another option. That's probably the best option for a terrarium. And then there's also moss, which they will have at the pet store. And I have some, but I did not put it in here because I'm not a fan of moss, because in my fish tanks it tends to take over and I don't want to fight with it right now. So I like my substrate that I have. It's cool. But that's something, another thing you can use. So I was thinking about something else, and it's the identification of arachnids. That spider looks a lot like a freaking wolf spider. Spiders do get misidentified. One of the best ways to like know what you're looking at, like you really need to actually like look at the different things on the spider's body. So their eyes, their eye arrangement is a common identifier. For a lot of spiders, like how is their eye arranged? That's gonna be different across different species and stuff. So it's one way that I know that this is a jumping spider. Another thing is like there can be small variations in patterns on abdomens, because there's a lot of misidentification of the brown recluse. So it is good to know how to properly identify spiders, and it's gonna be their legs and their eyes and the markings on their abdomen and where those markings are located. You know that feeling like you're forgetting something? I have that all the time. Feeding frequency. Some stuff says like every 4 days or something. You really just, you need to watch their abdomen and see how hungry they're getting, in my opinion. And then like how bloated they are. Do they need food? Because babies and juveniles, they need a higher frequency of food, like every 1 or 2 days, not every like 4 days. So it really depends on the age of the spider and the size of the spider, how much they need to eat. Okay, that's everything I can think of. I'm gonna stop talking about spiders now.